let's move on to the mans, the NHL right there, right there, the NHL. What a ridiculous trade deadline. We actually cut some trades out of here because it was too crazy.
That was a poppin' freaking deadline. God damn.
Alright, so we're gonna start off with, for me, the most ridiculous trade of the deadline. We got Anthony Mantha going from Detroit to Washington for Jakub Vrana, Richard Panik, a first and a second round pick. So let me put this into perspective for you.
Jesus Christ.
Mantha, he's a great goal scorer. Vrana is also a great young player too. They're pretty equal. I would say Mantha's maybe slightly better than Vrana. Slightly better.
Yeah.
But not that much better to get a first and a second round pick on top of the deal.
That's fucked.
Bro, this trade, they've been talking about, so Detroit's GM is Steve Yzerman, superstar player in his time. Alright, that's another highlight pack you should watch. Steve Yzerman and Joe Sakic, bro, they're both GMs right now and they're tearing up the league. So Steve Yzerman this guy trades one player for a player that's almost as good as that player, plus a lineup player, a first and a second round pick.
Yeah. That's messed up. Especially if that meant that guy is like close to that Vrana guy. Like, how you giving
He's
up?
Close. He's close. Vrana's younger. Here's the thing. This is the only justification I have. Detroit is shit, and Washington is good, and Vrana was not getting that much PT. Okay. So, if he's a good player on a good team, and another player is a good player on a bad team, maybe that good player on a bad team is worth more than the good player on a good team.
Yeah, big time.
I understand that. I do think Mantha is better than Vrana. I do think so. I agree. I think Mantha's a better goal scorer. He's got 2 goals in his first 2 games with Washington, by the way. Just to give a point. Vrana's got 1 goal in 1 game with Detroit. So it's looking pretty good right now. So Richard Panik was just a cap dump. They need to clear some cap space. But then they add a first and a second round pick to this deal. If I'm looking at this deal, if I'm trading Mantha and Vrana, okay, so Mantha and Vrana are in the deal. At most, I'm doing Vrana and a third for Mantha. That's the most I'm giving for him.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the limit of the deal.
Big time.
So, this deal's pretty ridiculous to me, man. This deal's pretty ridiculous to me. Steve Yzerman's a magician, bro. This guy been stripping teams since he became a GM, bro. He's been stripping teams.
General manager making moves.
This is highway robbery for me. We'll see how Vrana performs.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think Mantha's gonna perform no matter what because he's proved it. He's been on a shit team. Yeah. Vrana's been on a good team, so maybe I'll be on a bad team. He won't perform. But so far, he scored 1 goal in 1 game. Mantha scored 2 goals in 2 games. So.
Oh wait, so they got traded on Monday. They played their first games already.
They played the first games already. Mantha's played 2 games for Washington. He scored 2 goals. Mantha definitely fits into Washington's lineup better than Vrana does, just because he's got a shot. You know.
Okay.
Like, if I look at that team, there's no other player than Ovi who's got a nasty shot on that team. Now they have Mantha, which is nice. Vrana's like a pretty good all around offensive player, but he's younger than Mantha. And they gave up a first and a second and a roster player. Like, Richard Panik's going to play in the Detroit Red Wings roster because they're shit. So he's going to play. Whereas with Washington, he would be like a 4th liner or a scratch player. So I think Detroit did pretty nasty on this deal and highway robbery, but we'll see how it all plays out in the end.
What does that mean for Washington, though? Like that?
I mean, they're doing good, bro. They're like up there in their division. They're first or second in their division, if I remember from what I was hearing. Like, once again, I'm not paying attention to too many other divisions than the North Division, but they're up there in the division. Washington's nice, but like, Washington gets better from this trade, but they gave up a lot to get better. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they didn't have to give up as much to get. Bro, they gave up a first and second. And let me get this here clear for our NBA fans on here. A second round pick is very valuable in the NHL. Like, first and second round pick is super valuable. This year it may be a little less valuable because it's a COVID season and we haven't got to see these young players play as much.
Yeah.
So the draft picks this season, I feel like, lost their value a little bit. But that's still quite a bit. In the NHL, the first, second, and third round picks are all valuable because you could always draft a decent player. Because don't forget, it's not a starting five in the NHL. You have a starting what you got 4 lines of forwards with 3 players on each, and then you got 3 lines of defensemen with 2 players on each. So that's a lot more players than a starting 5, right? So the deeper you go into the draft, the more valuable the players are because there's more players that need to be in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So those lower picks are worth a little bit more. But let's go to the next trade. There was a 3-way trade between Tampa, Detroit, and Columbus. So Tampa gets David Savard out of the deal. Pretty solid defenseman. He would have been a nice add to the Leafs if we could have got him. But Tampa's out here stacked. This team's so stacked. They have Nikita Kucherov, who I think is a top 5 player in the league. He's been injured all season.
Yeah.
They're keeping him on long-term injury reserve, so he doesn't count towards the cap. And then in the playoffs, they're going to bring him back. So it's basically like a free addition of a superstar player in the playoffs. And they're getting this debate.
How's that fair?
Bro, the cap trickery in the NHL is an art. It's an art. Look at the Leafs right now. We'll get into the David Rittich trade later, but they got Freddie Anderson, who's making $5 million against the cap on injured reserve, and he's not coming back to the playoffs. I promise you that. It doesn't matter. He could be healthy this day. Yeah. The GM is telling him right now, you are still injured. You tell everyone you're injured. You're injured in our books. You're injured until the playoffs come back because you count against the cap. And the cap, like the salary cap in the NHL, is very strict. Very strict. So, anyways. So 3-way deal between Tampa, Detroit, and Columbus. Columbus get Lashoff, who doesn't matter, just a player. Detroit gets a 4th round pick, and Tampa gets David Savard. David Savard is like a top 4 defenseman in the league. Not like top 4 as in all defense. I mean top 4 as in the lineup. He could be in your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th position.
Yeah. In
your 6th defenseman, he's within the top 4 of the 6th defenseman. So pretty solid D-man. So they get him. The reason it's a 3-way trade is once again for cap reasons. One thing that's I feel like the NHL trades are more interesting than any other sport because of the cap. So the reason this is a 3-way trade is because so David Savard goes to Detroit first, and Columbus retains salary on Savard. He goes to Detroit. And then he goes to Tampa, and Detroit retains salary. So 2 teams retain salary on the player before he got to the eventual final team.
Yeah.
To make his salary lower. So 2 of these teams are going to be paying his salary. I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. So for the rest of the year, these 2 teams are going to be paying the salary of this player. And Tampa's stacked. The only team that's more stacked than Toronto right now is Tampa Bay. On paper, it's Tampa Bay's first team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto's second on paper. I'm not talking about like where they are actually.
Yeah.
But on paper, the players they have, Tampa's first, Toronto's second. So this is a pretty good ad by Tampa. They're scary, man. That defense, that offense with Kucherov coming back in the playoffs. That Tampa team's disgusting.
So the playoffs about to be dangerous.
Yes, sir, bro. The playoffs about to be dangerous. But we're facing Canadian teams for the first 2 rounds, and I ain't stressed about no Canadian teams. I don't care. Y'all Winnipeg fans can talk shit. I've been seeing y'all talk shit on social media. Y'all Winnipeg fans, y'all Montreal fans, y'all can talk shit. Think you're gonna win. We're gonna. Look at your 2 butt cheeks right now, bro. Look at your 2 butt cheeks. They're nice, right? They're nice and white or black or whatever race you are, whatever color they are. Just know, when the playoffs start, if you're white, that shit about to be red. If you're black, that shit about to be white, bro. You're about to be pasty white on your butt cheeks. Whatever else, just know your butt cheeks are getting destroyed. The Leafs are coming in there. Bop, 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 bop. You are not winning.
You have a lot of faith.
You are not winning. I bet it right now. Y'all are all losing. If we don't get through the Canadian teams this year with the trades we made, which we're about to get into, the Leafs, I sacrifice my painting. Fandom. That painting that poster right there, I will take that shit, I will wipe my ass with it, and I will toss it in the fire and pour gasoline on it. If we don't win against the Canadian team. Bro, I don't care about this. Look who's on there. Who's that? Jake Gardner, he ain't even on the team no more. Phil Kessel, he ain't on the team no more either. This poster old. I'll take that shit, I'll burn it. I'll burn that shit. You see that shit right there? That's got signatures from Leafs players. Who do I got on there? I got Ben Screens.
Yeah, look at that elite boy. He got signatures.
Signatures. Yo, it says 2 Thierry on there.
Damn.
James Reimer wrote that. I love James Reimer, but he wrote that shit. It looks like ass, bro. This guy spelled my name. It looks like it was written by a kindergartner, but he's good at sports at the very least.
So you really solidified, huh?
Bro, I got Ben Scrimmers on there. I got James Reimer on there. I got Tyler Bozak on there. Who do I got? I got Grabowski on there. Joffrey Lupul.
Tyler
Clark MacArthur. Jake Gardner. What's the name? Franson. I forget that guy's first name. This is how you know. If people were Leafs fans for a long time, this is how you know how old this signature was. It was a long time ago. Who else do I got on there? I got Tyler Conley or Tim Conley. Do you guys? Who knows who Tim Conley is? Nobody. This shit's old. Who else do I got on there?
The only guy I know is Andre Bernani from that Primo commercial.
I got Jay Rosehill. Do you know Jay Rosehill?
Who the fuck is that, bro?
Bro, this guy, all he did was toss fists. That's it. Jay Rosehill. If you were a Leafs fan for a long time, you know who Jay Rosehill is. I got Jay Rosehill on there. Who do I got? I got Jonas Gustafsson. You remember when James Reimer and Jonas Gustafsson were our goalkeepers? Nah, you don't. Because you have not been a Leafs fan as long as this man's right here.
Yeah.
If you're young.
You seem pain, you.
I got Morgan Riley on there. That's not a bad signature. I got Matt Fratton. You know who Matt Fratton is?
No Matt Fratton. What
Do you
the
think
fuck?
I care about this signature? Do you think I care about these signatures right here? I will burn that shit.
No.
I will burn that shit. I got a Phil Kessel poster right here. You can't see it. You can see the EL right there on the side. I will burn that shit too.
No, you
I don't give a
fucking
fuck
won't,
about
bro.
these posters right here. The Leafs gotta win 2 rounds with the trades they just made. So let's get into that shit right now. Actually, first, before we get into that shit, we'll get into a quick Montreal Canadiens trade. Montreal got John Merrill from Detroit for Verbeek. I don't know who the hell that guy is, and a 5th round pick. Pretty cheap for a solid defensive player that they could add to the lineup. Anyways, excuse me. Now let's get into the Leafs trade. We get my man's captain of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Nick Foligno. Do you know who that guy is?
I don't know. I don't know who that guy is, but from the trade details, bro, that looks like a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot for Nick Foligno. We gave them a first and a 4th for Nick Foligno. Nick Foligno is a 2nd or 3rd line player, but the Leafs need guys who will go out there and crush bodies and throw fists. And the good thing about Nick Foligno is he does all those things, but he's got a bit of a scoring touch. We can't be out here depending on Zach Hyman to do everything.
Big facts.
Zach Hyman has been doing too much, bro. That motherfucker takes this team on his back.
That's a
on
real
his
warrior.
back. He's my favorite player on the team for a good reason. I like Zach Hyman more than Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares. I like Zach Hyman more because this guy, you cannot name me a game where Zach Hyman played a bad game. You can't.
You're a real hustler.
You can't. You go find me a highlight. That's right. I said that shit 3 times because you can't. Go find me a highlight of a game where Zach Hyman played a bad game. You can't. Whole team could be playing bad. He's still playing a good game. It doesn't matter if he scores. He's always trying his best. He's always working. I'm convinced that you can make a forward lineup full of Zach Hymans, clone him throughout the lineup. That team's winning the cup. Because Zach Hyman's a worker, bro. He does his work. He shows up every day. You break his finger, he comes back and he'll shoot as if his finger is not even broken. That's the players that are worthy. And we just got one.
You're
Nick
a pure
Foligno.
Zach Hyman fan, bro. Fuck the Leafs.
love that guy.
He's a Zach Hyman guy.
I love Zach Hyman so much. And Zach Hyman's a businessman, bro. This guy started his own video game company, 11 Gaming. He writes children's book. He's got 4 books.
That's crazy.
Bro, this guy's a businessman. He's a smart man. He knows once his career is done, he's got to make money some other ways. So, yo, Killian, show me that energy, bro. Wipe them tired eyes, bro. Wipe them tired eyes.
The alcohol is getting to me, bro.
What alcohol? What are you talking about? We don't drink.
It's the liquor.
We don't drink.
It's it's the liquor on the Saturday, bro. After this freaking Ben Askren fight.
Trash. Don't even talk to me about that shit. Let me talk about good trades that the Leafs made that I want to speak on. Nick Foligno to the Leafs. We overpaid a little bit, 1st and a 4th. But Nick Foligno he's either slotting into that 2nd line with Tavares and Nylander, or he's slotting into the 3rd for some extra scoring, and he adds some grit. What the Leafs need is some grit.
But
what we need is when they take
1st and the 4th though.
Hey man, if they win the cup, do you care?
Only if they win the cup.
If they win a cup, do you care?
I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. So that's the bro. It's very clear that this team's going that they believe that they're going all the way and they're trying to go all the way. It's very clear that that's the goal this year, and I like seeing that. I hear it from the players. I like it. I don't believe it because I'm a Leaf fan and I don't trust these motherfuckers, but I like hearing it. So we got Nick Foligno. What we also get is David Rittich. Have you watched David Rittich's games? He's played the last 2 games.
No, I haven't seen that.
Solid.
Really?
We call this man Big Save Dave.
Big save.
Big save Dave. Every time this guy plays the Leafs, shut up. This guy's locked down against us. We paid a 3rd round pick for a backup goalie. That's a little expensive again.
But I still
once
don't.
Again,
I still don't get this whole like goalie thing. Like I thought Anderson and Campbell were doing their thing. Why are we adding the next one?
well, Campbell's doing his thing. Anderson hasn't done shit.
Oh yeah.
Anderson hasn't done shit, and he's injured, and he's making $5 million. So they 100% told him like, yo, just you're chill. You're not playing until the playoffs because they just added Foligno and there was salary retained on Foligno as well. Just by the way, so they added Foligno and Rittich. Rittich is a nice goalie, bro. Right now we got 3 goalies who could play in the NHL, which I like. We got an extra forward, and the 3rd trade we made is we got Ben Hutton from the Ducks for a 5th round pick, which is nothing. So we got a depth defenseman. So we got depth right now.
Yeah.
We got depth, which is nice. Because the lineup is nice, bro. The lineup is nice. The Leafs have been dominating this season. They've been dominating this season. In my opinion, they're the 2nd best team in the league. It's Tampa, them, Colorado, and I don't give a fuck about the rest.
I really hope you're not just saying that because you're a Leafs fan.
No. I'm saying it because on paper, if we're talking about on paper right here.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking as a Leafs fan, I'm like, these motherfuckers are the 10th best team in the league. But I'm looking at on paper right now. What the team has in the lineup, names, quality of player, they're the 2nd best team in the league.
Yeah,
but if I'm looking at it as a Leafs fan, I'm like, yo, they're 10th or 15th best because I don't trust Leafs teams because I've been disappointed in the past. So, anyways, Boston. Speaking of the team that gives us nightmares, they made some pretty big trades too. They get Mike Riley from Ottawa, who's a decent defender, and they've had some AHL defenders playing in their lineup right now, which they need to get those motherfuckers out. So they get an NHL defender for a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
A little bit of overpayment. Good for Ottawa because that team's ass, and they need to get some high draft picks. They trade away a lineup player out. I don't think Mike Riley was in their top defensive pair. He was either 2nd or 3rd defensive pair, but good addition for Boston. Now, this is the best trade of the deadline right here. They get Taylor Hall. 2 years ago, this guy was league MVP. They get Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar, who's actually a good player as well. What do they get? What do they trade to Buffalo for him? They trade a decent guy who I don't even know if I can call him a prospect anymore. He's been in the NHL for a bit. I think he's like 23.
Okay.
And a second round pick. So they trade a decent prospect and a 2nd round pick for a former MVP and a lineup player.
Why?
Well, apparently Taylor Hall had a no trade clause, and he said, "Trade me to Boston." If I'm Buffalo, I'm like, "All right, bro, you're gonna spend the season in Buffalo then. Enjoy.
Damn.
Enjoy 4 months of pain if you don't want to go to the team I send you to.
Wow.
Enjoy."
Wow.
But he says, "I want to go to Boston," and they made it happen. They got stripped. Boston just got 2 lineup forwards for a lineup prospect.
Are you worried about Boston now?
I mean, shit, bro. They got like 4 All-Stars on their team right now.
Oh my god.
I'm not that. I think the Leafs on paper are better than Boston, but the Leafs have been better than Boston on paper before. We all know what happened. Let's not talk about it. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy this right here, because this is Toronto's only salvation. Forget this. All this. Forget this. That logo. Fuck that logo. Fuck that logo. Fuck that whole logo, bro. Fuck that whole logo. Fuck all of that. Fuck all of that. You know, I should burn that shit today. Fuck all of that. I've been a Leafs fan for a long time. But I'll tell you right now, KB, I've been a Leafs fan for a long time. In all my years of being a Leafs fan, this is the best team I've ever seen.
That might say a lot. Maybe you might see a championship in your corner.
I don't want to get too excited for a championship, but this, on paper, is the best team I have ever seen. We've got 2 top 5 or top 10 players in the league with Mitch and Austin.
Fair.
We've got, like, 3 goalies who can actually make saves, which is all that matters. We've got a solid defense. We've got John Tavares, who if he was on another team, he'd be a star. But because he's behind Austin Matthews, he's got to cool it down. But we saw Austin Matthews was injured in this last game, and what did John Tavares do? He scored. We got vets, solid vets. We got this team is just solid, bro. I don't want to get too excited because when I get excited about the Leafs, they disappoint. But this is solid. But anyway, shout out to Boston for this highway robbery. They get an MVP and a lineup player for a rookie and a second round pick. Pretty nasty. And then the last trade I want to talk about. You know Vince Carter, right?
Yeah.
You know Jeff Carter?
No.
Jeff Carter. You know that the LA Kings won 2 cups, right?
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s. Jeff Carter was a big contribution to that team. He's a bit old now. So the Penguins get him for a third and a fourth. That's a even trade. It might look bad for the Pens in a bit.
But that's a third and fourth. Like I feel like it's so much easier for hockey people to just trade like draft people.
Like draft picks?
Yeah.
In hockey, 1st to 5th round picks are pretty valuable. Like the only picks that are not that valuable are 6th and 7th.
Okay.
Like 1st to 5th are pretty valuable picks. So just look at it that way. Don't forget we got a cap. We got more lineup players. It's a whole different environment. Don't even compare it to basketball. You won't understand it. Don't even compare it. So a 3rd and a 4th round pick is pretty expensive for an old player who's making a lot of money. But the Penguins, they need to do something this playoffs, bro, because they gotta use Crosby until that motherfucker gets old and retires, bro, because they're running out of time. He's getting old now, so they gotta make something happen with him. So decent trade. There was a lot of other like decent trades that happened during the trade deadline, but there was too many crazy trades, so we're not gonna talk about them all.
Yeah,
but anyways,
Monday was crazy.